and happy Wednesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Wednesday evening news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. Let's get started right now. First up, details about internal DCYF review regarding Harmony Montgomery to be released next week, AG says. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Home is where life happens, and good housekeeping is where you get everything you need to bring your home to life. From science-backed product reviews, to triple-tested recipes, to genius organizing hacks. It's a whole world of possibility, all tested for you.
Of all the things that have been talked about in this case, it's how for 2 years nobody has seen this little girl.
Executive Counselor Ted Gatsas pressing for answers and accountability at the Executive Council meeting in Concord.
And Governor, I applaud you for certainly dropping a dime on the state of Massachusetts. It's not an easy task, but we've got to find out what happens.
The governor called for an internal review at DCYF of the handling of Harmony Montgomery's case, while DCYF has remained mum on if the child was even in their system, citing strict confidentiality laws.
I know Joe Ribson and the team at DCYF have completed a significant portion of the internal, I don't know if we're calling it an internal review.
Attorney General John Formella confirmed that by next week, parts of the review approved by the DOJ will be made public. In Manchester, Police Chief Aldenberg hosted a Facebook Live event today, fielding questions about bail reform and speeding on Maple Street. But most of the questions were about Harmony.
We're working it around the clock. And when I say that, that's true and that's sincere. The case remains a top priority for everybody working the case. So hopefully we'll be able to provide some updates here in the near future.
And the chief says to date, 650 tips have come in on that tip line. He is adamant that someone out there knows something, and he says it's high time for them to work up the guts and come forward with that information. We're live in Manchester this evening. Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire COVID-19 hospitalizations at lowest level since last August. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Welcome to Beltates Building Products. Homeowners and contractors have different needs when it comes to home repairs and improvements.
Now to the newest COVID-19 numbers. Hospitalizations are now at 6-month lows with 115 people being treated. And active confirmed cases hit 3,200, the fewest since early September. There are 377 new cases to report, but health officials say these numbers may be higher due to unreported at-home testing. DHHS also says 10 more people have died from COVID-19.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Portsmouth City Council to consider plan to allow outdoor dining over long term. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I will do anything I can to be the voice of people that don't understand you gotta get vaccinated.
Portsmouth's restaurant scene has expanded outdoors for much of the past 2 years.
I think it's great. It feels like a patio party for all the restaurants in the city.
Restaurants like Cure say outdoor dining has been a lifesaver through the pandemic. 20 additional diners able to sit at tables in parking spots where vehicles sit today. The owner chef says the need has not gone away.
The price of everything across the board has inflated, from food costs to labor costs. We really need those seats to keep in the green.
Like many New Hampshire towns and cities, Portsmouth diners responded well to having that outdoor space. And later this week, the Chamber Collaborative here will work to come up with a draft plan to continue it long term.
which has worked really, really well and created a lot of vibrancy in our downtown. Now there is the challenges of parking, and it's not a perfect system, but it's definitely a positive for the community and something we're really hoping to see.
As a council, we're always looking at making sure that all businesses are represented and have a voice, not just restaurants. And so we're talking to retailers, we're talking to people that own commercial space, we're talking to office people.
Joe Kelly owns Cup of Joe. She's also Portsmouth's assistant mayor.
Making a more pedestrian-friendly downtown is always one of our #1 concerns. And so for me, this just is an easy segue into that.
Now, the city council will vote on it on Tuesday, and the city manager says if it passes, the city is poised to support it and will continue to be thoughtful about addressing the needs of everyone impacted. And the city of Manchester is kicking off a grant program for small businesses today, and that includes restaurants. These are all ways to try to sustain this important part of our economy. Reporting live in Portsmouth, Jennifer Crompton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Many New Hampshire residents still waiting for at-home COVID-19 tests shipped by federal government. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
What does flexibility actually mean? It's working a 40-hour week or a 4-hour week. Earning now and saving for the future, and working wherever and whenever you want. So, flexibility is about how you want to work and live.
Well, Tom, the bottom line is that the White House says most of the orders have been shipped and the rest will be sent over the next several days. The Biden administration made 500 million at-home COVID-19 tests available for order on January 19th. The website actually opened a day early. The expectation was that those who ordered tests would receive them by the end of January. But here we are in mid-February, and many of our viewers have emailed, called, and responded on Facebook saying they have yet to receive their tests. During today's COVID-19 response briefing, the White House said that a total of 50 million orders have already shipped. That's equal to 200 million tests. They say once an order ships, 90% of them are delivered within 48 hours.
85% of the initial orders are now out the door. And in the next several days, we will complete the shipping of all of the initial orders.
Now, the United States Postal Service has a help desk set up to address the issue. It's a recording essentially saying that orders are being shipped as the Postal Service receives tests from the manufacturers. That help desk line is 1-800-ASK-USPS. Live in the studio, Jason King, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New Hampshire Senate signs off on new redistricting maps as both parties are divided on process. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
I will do anything I can to be the voice of people that don't understand. You've got to.
Meeting in distanced fashion in the House chambers, the New Hampshire Senate signed off on new political maps for both bodies of the state legislature.
Applying constitutional and statutory requirements, this legislation divides the 24 districts into substantially equal parts.
While they don't get the most attention, these maps will go a long way to deciding who gets elected over the next decade.
This is probably one of the most important pieces of legislation that we're going to vote on today and for some time, because this is a process that we do only once every 10 years. As such, it's truly important that we get it right.
Senate Democrats singled out the new Senate District 9, which stretches from Bedford to the Vermont border.
These very thin geographic bands snaking across New Hampshire is what, go online, look at Google, it's what it does define as gerrymandering.
Some living in Winchester on the far edge of the proposed District 9 wonder how often they'll see a state senator from Bedford.
It's really sad that we would be lumped in. We're already pretty much in the dark over here on this side of the state, and we just don't feel that we're going to get any representation by moving us to District 9 at all.
Senate Democrats offered their own maps, which were rejected. Republicans turning the tables on them, saying their interpretation of which towns should be in which districts was unfair.
It just doesn't look good to me. Chester, Danville, Sandown, Kingston. We don't ever mix with people from, not that they're not the nicest people in the world, but they're a different region, Northwood and Nottingham.
In Concord, Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Biden issues stern warning to Russia as tension rises in Ukraine. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
President Biden addressed the American people after Vladimir Putin claimed that some Russian troops are being withdrawn from the border, raising hopes of a diplomatic solution to the crisis. President Biden also warned a Russian invasion of Ukraine remains a distinct possibility and that Americans will have to be prepared to pay a price if that happens. Our chief White House correspondent Cecilia Vega starts us off. Good morning, Cecilia.
George, good morning to you. Sources are telling me U.S. intelligence shows that Vladimir Putin could be ready to do this as early as today. It is unclear whether he has made this decision to invade at this point. But as you said, President Biden saying that an invasion is a distinct possibility. This morning, with Europe on the brink of war, new images showing more U.S. forces from Fort Campbell deploying to Poland. While at the White House, President Biden holding out hope for diplomacy, but issuing a stern new warning to Moscow.
Let there be no doubt. If Russia commits this breach by invading Ukraine, responsible nations around the world will not hesitate to respond.
Russia claims it has pulled back some troops from Ukraine's border, even releasing this new video claiming it shows forces leaving Crimea. But so far, the U.S. has seen no evidence of a withdrawal.
We have not yet verified the Russian military units are returning to their home bases.
Sources tell ABC News the U.S. believes Russian troops have actually moved closer to Ukraine's border and are now in position to attack. Officials believe an invasion would likely begin with electronic warfare and aerial bombardment on critical infrastructure before entering Kyiv and taking control of the government, with plans to complete the mission in 24 to 72 hours. But the Russians would face steep resistance, and there would likely be thousands of casualties. Ukrainian soldiers and military personnel actually far outnumber the 150,000 Russian forces assembled.
This is not a conventional force-on-force kind of military. This will be involved taking over a large country with huge cities. So the task in front of the Russians, if they decide to invade, is going to be terribly bloody and terribly costly. It's not like this is going to be a cakewalk.
President Biden warning that if Putin does go through with an invasion, there will be consequences for Americans here at home.
I will not pretend this will be painless. But the American people understand that defending democracy and liberty is never without cost.
Now, the pain that the president is referring to there, the White House says we are talking about potential higher prices at the gas pump if Russia goes through with this invasion. The president also aiming his message directly at the Russian people, saying you are not our enemy. And George, of course, directly at Vladimir Putin, saying that if he invades, the world will not forget that Russia chose needless death and destruction.
Cecilia Vega, thanks very much.
Well, hey there, GMA.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening news update right here on the Riley King Radio Network. Have a great evening and see you back here tomorrow for another news update. Good night, goodbye.